Hey folks, it's the Red, and it's time for another Mario Day special.
But Red, it's already after March 10th.
It's still Mario Day. So for Mario Day this year, I'm going to be chronicling and ranking every single track in the Mario Kart series. Since its inception back in 1992, the series has seen 145 unique tracks, and I'm going to go through and tell you what I think of each one. There are a few exceptions that need to be noted before we begin. The list will only cover original tracks, meaning I will not be looking at any remade versions of the tracks. We're only going to be looking at the earliest iterations of how they looked. This list will also not be including the arcade games, as I don't think these tracks are all that well known, and I want to keep this list to the major games. And I won't be including anything from Mario Kart Tour, since I don't have a good way to record footage from a phone, and I don't particularly care to play mobile games anyway. So, with all that out of the way, we have a lot of tracks that we need to get to, so let's get it started. Here are my official rankings, starting from the worst and working our way up. Number 145, SNES Bowser Castle 2. The roads are too narrow, and there's too many thwomps around, and one part of this track even has a dead end, which is just mean for a first-time racer, and no, you can't jump it with a feather either. It's just bad design. Number 144, Figure 8 Circuit. This is literally just 2 straightaways and 2 turns. That's the whole race. Kinda boring. Numbers 143 through 141 are all 3 Ghost Valleys. I just dread coming here every time because there are just too many ways to fall off this track. Number 140, Choco Island 1. I don't mind the bouncing pads as a gimmick for the track, but I feel like this one kinda overdoes it. The off-road is very punishing as well. 139, Broken Pier. You can't fool me, this is just the Game Boy Advance version of Ghost Valley. It's a little more tolerable, but only just. 138, Donut Plains 2. Narrow roads and abundance of moles make this one kind of annoying to drive on. 137, Mario Circuit 1. For a first race, it's fine, it's just a little plain, other than some pipes here and there. 136, Ice Ice Outpost. It's literally just 2 strips of road running parallel with one another, at different elevations. I think they could have did more here. 135, Donut Plains 1. It's got a little more going for it than Mario Circuit 1, but not a whole lot more. Still kinda plain. 134, Banshee Boardwalk. The course looks nice, but driving on it is another issue entirely. Very much like the Ghost Valleys, it's very hard to stay up around here. Number 133, Boo Lake. This is another one of those broken bridge levels, but this one felt a little more manageable. Still don't really care for it though. 132, Vanilla Lake 2. There's an abundance of ice blocks in this track that you could bounce against, and it's very hard to make them out because they blend in with the snow too much. 131, Moonview Highway. There's a lot of traffic on this road, and oftentimes you might wind up going into something because you don't see it turning a corner. 130, N64 Wario Stadium. It's very long and very boring to race on. No real hazards, just a bunch of hills. 129, Mario Circuit 4. I hope you picked a character with good turning because you're going to be doing a lot of it here. Ugh. 128, Choco Island 2. This one has a big mud pit partway into the stage, which is pretty fun, but it still has all the problems of Choco Island 1, so yeah. 127, Vanilla Lake 1. There's less ice to avoid this time, and less obstacles overall, but still watch out, this place is pretty slick. 126, Luigi Raceway. I like all the Luigi-themed stuff around here, but the track itself is kinda simple in design. 125, Excite Bike Arena. Again, another simple track design, just 2 straightaways and 2 turns. They at least make it interesting by having all these ramps and dirt piles that you have to jump on, and it's randomized every time you race the track. 124, Riverside Park. Another one that's kinda simple in design, but I do like the layout of this one, and I like how they handle the river jump. Fun stuff. 123, Donut Plains 3. I do appreciate how they got the lake more involved in the design of the track. Crossing this bridge without falling in makes for an interesting challenge. 122, Royal Raceway. Another simple track with a lot of tight corners, especially towards the end. 121, Frape Snowland. Not too much to note here, the only real obstacle are these snowmen about halfway through the level. Otherwise it's just a snow world that you're driving through. Cool, I guess. 120, Dino Dino Jungle. I really like the beginning of this track where you're driving around the dinosaur feet, but they don't really do anything else with the theme after that, and that's kinda disappointing. 119, Dragon Driftway. The place really looks nice, but as a track, it's just okay. Nothing really wows me about this one. 118, Mario Raceway. There's a lot of places where you can cut across grass, but otherwise, not too much to really make note of here. Just watch out for those tight corners. 117, Peach Circuit. A more interesting version of Luigi Raceway, in terms of its layout. Could still do for a few obstacles, though. 116, N64 Sherbet Land. This is like Vanilla Lake, except we got rid of the ice blocks and replaced them with penguins. Is it better? A little. 115, GBA Mario Circuit. Nothing really of note here. It's basically just a twistier version of Peach Circuit. There's an area in the pit stop with a lot of boosts in it, but that's about it. Not the greatest track ever, but it gets the job done. 114, Yoshi Desert. Driving off the road here could wind up having you consumed whole, and it's very hard to tell where these points are. This place is deceptively dangerous. 113, DK Mountain. The ride up the mountain is pretty cool, but the ride down is going to be very dangerous. This corner especially is very hard to get around without falling. 112, Moo Moo Farm. We can see that we're in the middle of a farm with all these cows and things off in the background, but we don't really encounter any of that on the track itself. It's just kind of plain and simple. There are some moles, though, if those count for anything. 111, GameCube Mario Circuit. There are some piranha plants along the sides of the roads here, and some humps in the road here and there, but otherwise not too much to look out for around here. Kind of simple. 110, SNES Rainbow Road. I wish I could rank this one higher, but frankly the roads are just too narrow, and there's too much that could go wrong here. This Rainbow Road definitely lives up to its reputation. 109, DS Mario Circuit. It's just like the GameCube one, except I think the layout here is a little better. It's a decent track. 108, Choco Mountain. Despite being very simple in design, the fog makes this place feel much bigger than it actually is. Also watch out for those rocks, and make sure you don't fall off the edge here or you're going to be having a long lap. 107, Yoshi Circuit. I like the idea of having a track that's in the shape of one of the characters. I just kind of wish they'd done more with it. Also, I really like this helicopter cameo from Yoshi's Island. 106, N64 Rainbow Road. For being a fan favorite track, I'm really not that impressed with it. It's very simple and very long. The only thing you really have to avoid is an occasional chomp. I think the music is the only real takeaway from this track. 105, Mario Circuit 2. Like Mario Circuit 1, but with a little more meat. There's also a section where you can jump over part of the track, which is always fun. 104, Cheese Land. I like the theme of this track. I wish they could have did more with the cheese theme, but the track itself is a little simple and kind of bumpy in places. 103, GameCube Rainbow Road. The first half of this track is kind of hard to stay up, but after that, it gets a bit more manageable. Not a bad Rainbow Road, all things considered. 102, Peach Beach. I like the Mario Sunshine theme that's going on here. It even includes the cataquacks from the game that will flip you up into the air if you drive into them. But other than that, the track is pretty simple in design. 101, GameCube Bowser's Castle. It contains all the basic obstacles that you would encounter in a Bowser's Castle. Fire bars, fireballs, lava pits, everything is accounted for. But I don't know, I just find this to be one of the less interesting Bowser's Castles. 100, DS Rainbow Road. It can be kind of hard to stay up here, but I am really digging on this music, and I really like the way these loop-de-loops and corkscrews are handled. 99, DK's Jungle Parkway. Not a bad track, and I rather like how it looks, but who's throwing these spike balls at us? 98, SNES Bowser Castle 1. I appreciate that this one's a bit more wide, and there's not as many thwomps that we need to watch out for. 97, Waluigi Stadium. This is a more interesting version of N64 Wario Stadium. A pretty good challenge around here as well, but some of the cornering is a little tight. 96, Wii Bowser's Castle. One of the more chaotic Bowser's Castles in the series, with quite a bit that you'll need to watch out for in addition to everything that the racers are throwing at you. 95, GBA Bowser Castle 1. Kinda no frills, you got your basic obstacles around here, but it's not bad. 94, Wario Coliseum. This track sure likes to twist and turn. And for such a long track, it's impressive how much they were able to put into such a small space. 93, SNES Bowser Castle 3. I like some of the ideas that are implemented here, such as the jumps over the lava that go off to different platforms, as well as this part with the 3 different roads that you could go down. It gives you some options. 92, Mario Circuit 3. Other than for one hairpin turn about halfway into the track, I feel like this one's pretty good. 91, Ribbon Road. I like the theme of this track, and the track itself is not bad either. I just wish there was a little more going on it. 90, Dry Dry Desert. One of the better desert tracks in the series, with a few different gimmicks going on at different parts of the track. 89, Wii U Rainbow Road. The space station idea was an odd choice in my opinion, but it certainly does live up to the Rainbow Road standards. 88, Lakeside Park. It may not look like it at first, but there's actually a good number of obstacles that you need to look out for around here. Actually makes for a pretty solid challenge. 87, N64 Bowser's Castle. These thwomps get me every single time. But the track is pretty good too. 86, DS Wario Stadium. Cross Choco Island with Waluigi Stadium and you get something like this. Overall, a pretty good track. 85, Snowland. This place is entirely encased in ice, but unlike something like Vanilla Lake, this track feels pretty good to race on. Just be careful if you're using a speed character. 84, GBA Bowser Castle 2. There's a lot of points in this track where you have to either drive around lava or jump over it on a ramp. This place can be kinda dangerous, and it's pretty good. 83, DK Pass. Overall, a pretty solid challenge throughout. First with some tight cornering at the beginning, then we're dodging around a snowball, and then there's a high-risk point with these snowmen. Yeah, this is a pretty good course. 82, Koopa Troopa Beach. Depending on how the tides are going, this race could go well or badly. And some of these ramps are a little difficult to use, but super satisfying when you can land that shortcut. 81, GBA Bowser Castle 3, a more linear version of the SNES version of the same name, so I feel like its challenges are a little more concise. 80, Wild Woods. The visuals are nice, but this track doesn't really do anything that we haven't already seen in a Mario Kart track before it. Not bad, but not great. 79, Dry Dry Ruins. This is one of those tracks that's changing little by little with each lap. First these pillars fall, and this temple slowly fills with sand. There's a lot to take in here. 78, Peach Gardens. A hedge maze full of chain chomps that could take you by surprise if you're not paying attention. It's pretty good. 77, Shy Guy Falls. Boosting up the waterfall is pretty fun, but the rest of the track is just kinda meh. 76, DS Bowser's Castle. All the challenges here are laid out in a way that it shouldn't take you too much by surprise if you're looking ahead. Another well-designed track. 75, GBA Luigi Circuit. There's a lot of rain puddles that you'll have to watch out for around here, and a lot of tight corners, so this one can be a little tricky. 74, GameCube Sherbet Land. I like the first part of this track where you're dodging around the skating Shy Guys and the holes in the ice. I would have liked to see more of that during the later part of the track as well. 73, Daisy Circuit. The sunset effect here is very nice, and the track layout is very interesting as well, especially this part where you can see the other racers coming by as you're going forward. 72, Animal Crossing. A very unique track that changes depending on which season that you get, so there's 4 different variants you have. Now that's some replayability right there. 71, GBA Bowser Castle 4. They've taken every concept introduced in all the Bowser Castles up to this point, and somehow put it all into a track that makes it work really well. I'm surprised. 70, GameCube Luigi Circuit. Going into the second or third lap, it can be hard to gauge what position each racer is in when you've got some going in one direction and others going in the other. It's a chaotic mess, and I love it. 69, Yoshi Valley. I get that it's supposed to be a maze and you have to try and navigate the quickest route to get to the lap marker, but once you know the most optimal path to take, it quickly becomes a matter of, okay, just take the path and don't fall. 68, Wii U Mario Circuit. There's a lot of opportunities to build up some boosts around here by sliding, so you get some opportunities for some major speed here. 67, Wii Mario Circuit. Not too much to say about this one, only one major hazard to look out for, but the track itself is pretty well designed. 66, Moo Moo Meadows. This is like Moo Moo Farms if the cows got more involved. In some cases, they can be seen crossing the road, so watch out for that. 65, Koopa Beach 2. This level has a lot of resemblances to N64 Koopa Troopa Beach, except for this part where you have to avoid the dark water. Overall, one of the better tracks in Super Mario Kart. 64, Shy Guy Beach. Very similar to Koopa Beach, but with a lot more to look out for. I like this one quite a bit, actually. 63, Wii Luigi Circuit. For a first race, this isn't bad. It's sort of similar to Luigi's Raceway, but since there's 12 racers here, I feel like this one works pretty well. 62, Koopa Beach 1. A little less guesswork going on here. Not as much dark water to look out for, just follow where the islands are. This one's very open, so it works pretty well. 61, Desert Hills. It's a desert, and it has hills. Don't think too hard about this one. Some good shortcut opportunities here, though. 60, DK Jungle. They did a good job with the theme on this track, and the track itself plays out very nicely, too. 59, Maple Treeway. A fun idea for a track, and a very nicely designed one as well. It can be kind of hard to stay on top of it, though, sometimes. 58, Cheap Cheap Beach. Pay attention to the tides, and you may see an opportunity to cut ahead, even without a mushroom. I like tracks that give you opportunities like this. 57, Mario Kart Stadium. One of the better opening tracks in the series, because this one isn't afraid to challenge you a little bit. Nothing crazy, but it's certainly a lot more than just a bunch of straightaways like some others. 56, Mushroom Bridge. A bit better to play than on Moonview Highway in my opinion, but it can still be tricky to get through here unscathed. 55, 3DS Mario Circuit. Now, this one is certainly a lot more than just driving around pipes or Goombas. It takes advantage of several of the game's gimmicks, and I like that. 54, Shroom Ridge. Traffic on a cliffside? Now that's dangerous! 53, Toad Circuit. Once again, a first track that isn't afraid to do more than just go in a straight line for most of the race. 52, Cloud Top Cruise. Another fun theme that takes you across a few different set pieces. Overall, a nicely designed track. 51, Calamari Desert. I like the idea of a train holding up the race and then making you wait for just the right moment to start driving off, but I can also see how it would be something of a pace breaker, so I'm torn on this. 50, Baby Park. This is such a short track that it's very likely that you're going to see racers on all different parts of it in the later laps, very similar to GameCube Luigi's Circuit in that manner. 49, Neo Bowser City. This place is actually kind of cool looking, and some parts of this track can be a little tricky to slide across. 48, Water Park. It certainly does feel like one with the visuals. The track itself isn't bad to drive either. Overall, not bad. 47, Cheap Cheap Island. A nice, wide open beach with some crabs to avoid, and a bridge section that makes for some nice variation. I rather like this track. 46, Rock Rock Mountain. This is a pretty cool variation on the mountain theme with two sections where you use the hang glider for a pretty long time. Solid course. 45, Wario's Gold Mine. I like the theme of this track, and avoiding the minecarts makes for an interesting challenge as well. 44, Daisy Cruiser. What a great idea for a track, having it on a cruise ship. And this part in the dining room with the swaying tables was just great. 43, Toad Harbor. Just a really well-designed track with lots of different ways that you can go about it. The trolley towards the end is a nice touch as well. 42, GBA Rainbow Road. I think this one's a little underrated, honestly. Some of the hazards can be difficult to avoid, but particularly daring racers could potentially use the jump pads to jump over small sections of the road and cut ahead. 41, Mushroom Gorge. Navigating these bouncy mushrooms can be a little tricky and dangerous, but when you can pull it off, it's pretty fun. 40, Toad's Factory. Conveyor belts are the name of the game here, and there's no shortage of them for sure. Overall, a pretty good track. 39, Wii U Bowser's Castle. This track doesn't seem to have as many hazards as other Bowser's Castles, but yet it still feels pretty dangerous all the same. 38, Big Blue. It's an F-Zero themed track. I mean, how can you say no to that? There's a lot of boosting here, so maybe good turning would be ideal to have here. 37, Sky Garden. I like the idea of driving along clouds, and this particular shortcut here where you jump across the clouds could probably make for an interesting main part of the track, but I can understand why they didn't do it. 36, Wario Shipyard. This track is kind of busy, but it's still pretty fun to drive on. The visuals are very nice here as well. 35, Sweet Sweet Canyon. I like this track for the theme alone. It's just so well done here. The track is pretty good too. 34, DK Summit. Kinda feels like we should have a snowboard for this track, not a car. I do like this one quite a bit. 33, Bone Dry Dunes. There's a lot of points on this track where it splits, so there's a lot of replayability here. 32, Koopa Cape. Driving down the stream towards the beginning of the track is pretty fun, and then going down into the pipe and into the underwater section, oh, this level is a lot of fun. 31, Daisy Hills. This track is really well designed, and it looks very nice to boot. Overall, just a really good track. 30, Yoshi Falls. Staying to the inside of this track may be kinda risky. That's part of the risk you have to gauge when you decide whether or not you want to go against these waterfalls. 29, Dolphin Shoals. This track does a lot to take advantage of underwater driving, and I really appreciate it for that. 28, Mute City. Pretty much the same deal as Big Blue, except now it's a lap race. I still like this one quite a bit. 27, Tick-Tock Clock. All the clock-themed gimmicks in this track are really fun and make this place very interesting to look at and race on. 26, Mushroom City. I appreciate all the different routes that you can take on this track. It really makes the place feel very vast. Overall, a really good course. 25, Wii Rainbow Road. Staying up on this course is probably one of the hardest out of all the Rainbow Roads, but once you get it nailed down, it can be a lot of fun to go around here. 24, Maka Woohoo. First we drive up the side of the mountain in Woohoo Island, and then it leads to the longest hang gliding section in the entire game. I do have a lot of fun coming back to this one. 23, Super Bell Subway. I like the way the subway system is implemented here during the underground segments, and the track overall is pretty well designed. I like it. 22, Piranha Plant Slide. The underground section of this level feels like a level from Super Mario Bros., and I love it. The track overall is really fun to race on as well. 21, 3DS Bowser's Castle. There's certainly a lot to look at here. It seems like you encounter a different hazard at every different point of this track, which makes for some really good variety. 20, Rosalina's Ice World. The first lap takes you through a village, but then on the second lap you have to go into the water. There's also an ice cave with a bunch of ice stalactites to watch out for. Overall, quite a bit to look out for and a well-designed track. 19, Airship Fortress. You start out by dodging some bullet bills and some rocky wrenches, and then you shoot across to a castle and come spiraling down. Overall, this is a pretty fun track in my opinion. 18, Sunset Wilds. I like the sunset effect on this track, and I also really like the theme with the kinda Indian-style Shy Guys in these teepees. It's a fun theme, and the track itself is pretty well made as well. 17, Woohoo Loop. Nothing against Maka Woohoo, but I just kinda like the simpler design of this track a little better. It's also got some light traffic to avoid here and there, so overall it's not too bad to race on. 16, Thwomp Ruins. It definitely lives up to its name, and it's a really well-made track to boot. It has an ancient feel to it that I really like. 15, Cheep Cheep Lagoon. This was the track that introduced us to underwater driving, and it does a fine job of that. I appreciate that they made the road wider here so we can gauge how much sliding has changed underwater. 14, Shy Guy Bazaar. You know, this kind of place seems pretty appropriate for Shy Guys considering the game that they came from. Another well-designed track that's easy to understand. 13, Twisted Mansion. With a name like that, you can expect to be using the anti-gravity physics quite a bit. Despite that, you never really lose track of where you're going, since most of the time you're going in a straight line, so I appreciate it for that. Overall, this level is presented very nicely. 12, Grumble Volcano. As the race goes on, more and more of the land is collapsing, and I really like the theming here. It's causing the track to constantly change, and I really like it for that. 11, Mount Wario. So let me get this straight. We go from the back of a plane, down the side of a mountain, through a cave, through a factory, through a forest, and then down a ski slope? What is this track? I don't know, but I like it. 10, Delfino Square. There may not be much in the way of obstacles to look out for, but I like this place for the setting alone. Number 9, Toad's Turnpike. The first track to introduce traffic, and still the best one to do so in my opinion. Number 8, Hyrule Circuit. A Zelda-themed track that's a lot of fun to race on. Replacing the coins with rupees and the piranha plants with Deku Bakas was a nice touch as well. Number 7, Coconut Mall. This place is just plain fun to race through, although it can be a little difficult to tell which way the staircases are going. Overall, I just really like this theme. Number 6, Luigi's Mansion. I'm always a sucker for these themed tracks. Each lap also ends with a trip into a big mud pit as well. I would have liked to see more involvement with booze or something, but I have no complaints with this track otherwise. Number 5, Waluigi Pinball. What a fun idea for a track. Avoiding a pinball as it's being flung around on this giant pinball table that you're driving down is a really great idea. Avoiding the bumpers, then going right back up and doing it all over again. Good stuff. Number 4, Electrodrome. This music-themed level really rocks. Literally. The track is really well made as well, so massive props to this course. Number 3, Sunshine Airport. The music and the course theme really sells it for me. It's also nice and wide, so plenty of room for all sorts of driving shenanigans as well. Overall, I just really like this one. Number 2, Music Park. I like how driving down this road, it almost feels like you're adding to the music as you're going along. And all of the different music-themed obstacles and things just really make this a fun one to play through. And finally, my number 1 pick, my favorite Mario Kart track in the series is 3DS Rainbow Road. It feels like the perfect way to cap off one of the best Mario Kart games in the franchise. The theme, the design, the music, everything about this course is just fantastic in my opinion. The challenge is right up there with the other Rainbow Roads as well, so overall I really have no complaints about this track whatsoever. And there you have it. There is my ranking of all 145 tracks in the Mario Kart series. What did you think of my list? What are some of your favorite tracks in the series? Feel free to comment down below. But with that, we're going to go ahead and call it there. Thank you very much for watching, and have yourselves a happy Mario Day. See you next time!